Now, if you just plan to use social media as a social app for leisure, then you don't really need a content strategy. But if you are expecting to make money online from these social media apps, content strategies are extremely critical. And trying to flourish online without a content strategy means that you are just winging it. And winging it is never good because it always leads to burnout, inconsistency, and missed opportunities. Welcome to the Side Hustler Podcast, the podcast for women building their dreams while balancing work, family, and all the things. I'm your host, Carly LeBlanc, a wife, mom, marketer, and your side hustling friend here to teach you how to grow a brand that works for you and not the other way around. Whether you're a side hustling pro or just starting out, this is your safe place for real talk, actionable strategies, and the encouragement you need to keep going. We're here to help you make progress and not perfection. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's build your dream one step at a time. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Side Hustler Podcast. I'm your host, Carly, and I'm so excited to have you here because we are diving into a topic that every side hustler, every entrepreneur, every personal brand builder needs to master. And it's probably one of my most favorite topics to talk about, and that is content strategy. Now, if you're new here, let me first off start by introducing myself. My name is Carly LeBlanc, and I'm a wife. I'm a mom that owns a content creation agency and works a full-time job, hence the name of this podcast. And I recently started my content creation agency in 2023 after serving in my church as a social media ministry leader, where I was able to shoot, edit, and post the content to market my church online. After growing and excelling in this ministry, I actually decided to take things further and launch my first official business in 2023, which is where I batch content for women who own personal brands. So, if there's one thing I know front back with my eyes closed, it is content creation. Content creation truly has changed my life because it has allowed me to have a way to be creative, but also to document key moments in my life. It has been the one thing that has transformed me and allowed me to be able to go back and revisit these pivotal moments that I conquered and recognize how far I've come. As many of you know, if you listen to this podcast regularly, I started creating content back in 2019 to document my pre-med journey. And through all of my life experiences and transitions, I've been creating content from going through college graduation to becoming engaged, to getting married in the middle of COVID, to planning my wedding, to becoming a mom, and now becoming an entrepreneur, and even just building this podcast. So content creation has been the thing that I love most because it allows me to connect with so many people that are also in the same space where I am. And I've met so many internet besties that I've never literally seen in person or in real life, but I've also been able to make some extra money on the side while planning my wedding and building my first home. So this is why I scream from the top of my lungs that everybody should be creating content. Now, as Christians, we know that we are put on this world for a purpose, and that is to bring people back to Jesus. And we all have these very unique ways of doing it. Not only through being preachers and evangelists and prophets, but we're dancers and fashion influencers and makeup artists and hairstylists, cooks, entrepreneurs, or even coaches. So there is so much more to life than just working a 9 to 5 and being a mom and being a wife or wherever you are. There's always something that makes your way of connecting with others different. And that is the thing that you should be creating content about. So if you've ever felt overwhelmed, you're tired of trying to figure out what content to post or when to post or how to keep up with the trends, this episode is specifically for you. So in this episode, we are going to be talking about what is a content strategy and why you need one, how to create a content strategy that actually works for you, how to stay consistent even when you're juggling a full-time job, family, or everything else life throws at you. So I want you to grab your notebook or your favorite note-taking tool and let's get to work, because by the end of this episode, you are going to have an exact roadmap to create and stick to a content strategy that helps you grow your brand and reach your goals like never before. Before we dive into today's episode, I wanted to tell you about a free resource I created just for you. Have you ever found yourself stuck on what to post or struggling to stay consistent on social media? I've been there, and that's exactly why I created this free guide called 30 Days of Done For You Social Media Prompts for Personal Brands. This guide is loaded with prompts to get your gears turning so you can have a gallery of content to create for your brand and never stress about what to post again. And you can grab it right now at cdcreativecoagency.com/content and start creating content that connects without the stress. Okay, so we are going to start with the basics, and that is, what is a content strategy and why do you need one? So, what is a content strategy? A content strategy is your game plan for creating and sharing content that aligns with your brand goals. It's not just you posting some pretty random pictures on Instagram or hopping on the latest viral trend. It is about being intentional with every piece of content that you post, every story, every post, every video you share. It serves a purpose. So, when you think of your content strategy, I want you to think about the blueprint for your brand, because it's the thing that you can always go back to whenever you feel stuck, confused, or even if you're just uncertain on what to post next. Your content strategy is going to be the thing that helps you stay consistent, even when you don't feel like showing up, or even when you feel like you're throwing spaghetti at the wall, because it helps you to build know, like, and trust with your audience by showing up regularly and delivering value. It helps you save time because you're not scrambling to figure out what to post. It helps you align your content with your long-term goals so you can see and measure your progress and your success. And I could go on and on and on. But here's the thing that makes content tricky and overwhelming. In 2025, the content game is far more competitive than it ever was. People's attention spans are shorter, and there's so much content out there that we are intaking every single day. We are competing for each other's time and attention, and so many creatives are spending a lot of time, energy, and money to create attention-grabbing content, which makes it difficult if you're someone who just has, the content without the bells and whistles. But I'm here to tell you, please do not get discouraged, my friend, because there is a way for you to have basic content that actually converts far more than people with the lavish, extreme edits. But you have to have a strategy that makes your brand stand out and stay top of mind for your audience, which is something that we'll get into later on in the episode. Now, if you just plan to use social media as a social app for leisure, then you don't really need a content strategy. But if you are expecting to make money online from these social media apps, content strategies are extremely critical. And trying to flourish online without a content strategy means that you are just winging it. And winging it is never good because it always leads to burnout, inconsistency, and missed opportunities. Having a solid content strategy is literally like having a roadmap for your brand that helps you stay on track, it helps you stay focused, and it helps you to get where you want to go. So when you decide to become intentional with your strategy, you'll also know that your confidence grows online and you're working smarter and not harder. Okay, so now that we've talked about what a content strategy is and why it's important, I want to help you create your content strategy. And I'm going to break this down in 7 simple steps so you can easily follow along. So make sure you're staying with me, taking your notes, and getting cozy because we are getting to work, okay? So step number 1 is to define your goals, which is also your why. This is the first step to creating any content strategy because this is the reason you want to create content. Why do you want to create content in the first place? Are you wanting to build brand awareness? Are you wanting to drive traffic to your website? Are you wanting to grow your email list? Are you wanting to sell a product or a service? Are you wanting to establish yourself as an expert in your industry? Are you wanting to partner with brands? This is the question you really need to sit down and ponder on, because when you're able to identify your why, This will help you understand how to get there. It's just like hopping in a car without knowing where you're going. Now, another reason why you need to define your why is because your why is going to be the thing that is going to help you stay consistent when you don't feel motivated. We've all had those moments where we don't feel motivated to show up on social media, and typically that's because we're just posting just to post. But I want you to think of it as a problem that you are assigned to solve in this world, because people are expecting you to show up and to be the solution to the problem that they have. Now, the moment you decide to position yourself as a solution, or the obvious solution rather, you take on the initiative to show up for the people that need you the most. But if you're not passionate enough about showing up for these people, you will struggle to be consistent. Now, when you're defining your why, you want to make sure that you are as specific as possible and make sure that your goals align with your overall business goals. For example, I am a content creator that positions myself as an obvious solution for people who struggle with being consistent with their content. That is my why. My goal is to help women-owned businesses create their content for their businesses to attract more clients and make more money. Why? To encourage women that they can have it all. Many women, after becoming wives or moms, they tend to lose themselves and end up playing small because they feel like they have to give up their dreams of being something much bigger. So if I can encourage them and offer services to help them get there, more women will be successful and actually build lives that they love. So I challenge you first to just sit down and discover your why. This is also equivalent to figuring out your purpose. Like I said before, we are all put on this earth for a purpose. Figure out what it is that you have been designed to do. Take all the time you need to get clear with your goals, because when you get clear with your goals will guide every decision you make with your content. Okay, let's get into step 2, and that is knowing your audience. Your content needs to speak directly to your ideal customer avatar. And I'm going to use ICA throughout this episode. So if you hear me saying ICA, I'm referring back to ideal customer avatar, okay? Now, the only way you'll be able to build a community of people is to be an obvious solution for a certain group of people. And that is your ICA. So when you think about your ICA, I have a couple of questions that I want you to sit down and really think about. I don't want you to come up with any surface level responses, okay? I want you to dive in deep and really, really get down to the nitty gritty on who your ICA is. Give them a name so that way it feels a little bit more personable and you can always relate back to a person. So here's some questions that I want you to ponder on when you are defining your ICA. Number 1 is, who are they? Are they a woman? Are they a man? Are they a millennial? Are they a senior? Who are they? How old are they? What is their relationship status? Do they have kids? How much money do they make? Where do they live? What are their pain points? What is the challenge that they're facing? How do they currently feel about their challenge? What are their goals? What type of content do they enjoy? Where do they choose to consume their content? What does a day in the life look like for your ICA? What are they searching online? What keeps them up at night? Who are people that inspire them? Who are people that they currently follow online? How do they spend their money? Now, these are just some questions to kind of get the gears turning. And the more that you define, you'll start to figure out a little bit more about your ICA, but I really want you to take these questions down and really dive in deep so you can understand your ICA better, because the better you understand your ICA, the stronger you will be as a content creator. Because once you know who you're speaking to, you will be able to create content that directly speaks to them, that was handcrafted and created just for them, which will make you the obvious choice for whatever problem it is that you solve for them. Okay, moving along to step number 3, and that is to choose your content pillars. So now that we have created our goals and identified our ICA, now we have to create the content pillars, or the main themes or topics that we're going to focus our content on. Now, content pillars are essentially the areas where your expertise and your audience's interests intertwine. For example, some of my content pillars are content creation, productivity, family and motherhood, entrepreneurship, personal growth, and marketing strategies. So whenever you land on my page and click any random piece of content that's on my page, it will most likely be in aligned with one of those content themes. Now, ideally, you will want to choose anywhere between 3 to 5 pillars because this will allow you to have diversity in your content and help you to not get bored with posting the same kind of content over and over. But however you choose your content pillars, you want to make sure that your content is consistent and aligned with your brand's goal or mission. Now, while we're on the topic of content themes, I also want to bring up the fact that you can also layer your content with things that are absolutely unrelated but are meaningful to who you are. So going back to my content pillars where I was talking about marketing strategies, content creation, productivity, motherhood and family, personal growth, marketing has nothing to do with family and motherhood. However, my family is very meaningful to me, and it would only be right for me to showcase myself as a wife and as a mom because they are a huge reason for why I do what I do. So don't be afraid to layer on unrelated themes that feel meaningful to you as a content creator because you have full control of what you create content around, but having those content pillars will make brainstorming content much easier because it will help you to know exactly what to focus on. Okay. So step number 4 is to decide what platforms you're going to be on and what content formats you're going to create. So now that we have our pillars, it's time for us to figure out where we should plan to create our content and what platform we should focus on, which is exactly why you cannot skip to step 4 without fully completing step 2. Because when you identify your audience, you should be able to understand where they spend most of their time on social media and use that as a place to plant yourself. For example, if your audience is full of C-level professionals, you would probably want to focus on LinkedIn. If your ICA consists of millennials, then Instagram might be a good place for you to land. But you get the gist of what I'm saying. If your audience spends most of their time on Facebook, there's no need of you focusing on Instagram. If your audience likes to learn on YouTube, then you definitely should use YouTube as a place where you land. Either way, you need to identify your audience and choose the platform where they are more likely to spend their time. Now, while we're on the topic of social media platforms, I want you to be aware of what formats of content you should focus on based on the platform you choose. So if Instagram is your platform, then you should be creating a variety of content formats such as reels, carousels, and story posts. Now, if LinkedIn is your platform, focusing on videos and feed posts with professional thought leadership content will be ideal. If YouTube is your platform, then long, informative, long-form content such as educational videos and shorts will be a place for you to market your long-form content. But you want to choose formats that best align with your strengths and what your audience enjoys. So if you're great at explaining things, then maybe video tutorials are your strengths. But if you love storytelling, consider vlogs or even podcasts. Either way, the key to excelling online is creating content that is relatable and shareable. In fact, if you haven't noticed, for the past couple of years, Instagram has in fact started to prioritize content that is shared frequently or that is bookmarked frequently. So I want you to focus on creating content that pushes people to share or save for later and provide value rather than focusing on the aesthetics or the perfectionism of your content. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt really good about the content you're putting out? Are you tired of scrambling to post, feeling like you're never ahead, or just unsure on how to show up online consistently? Now, if you're nodding your head, I want you to listen up because my content intensive package was made just for you. Here's the deal. In just one day, we'll create 1 to 2 months worth of high quality, impactful content that will have your brand showing up consistently and professionally. This isn't just some cute little photo shoot. No, ma'am. This is a full-blown, done-for-you content experience that includes everything you need to elevate your brand and connect with your audience. Oh, and did I mention this is an all-inclusive experience? Because yes, girl, we're getting it all done in one go. Whether you're launching something new, building a personal brand, or scaling your business, this package is everything you need to show up online without the stress. And I want to help you do it. So let's talk about it. Head over to cdcreativecoagency.com/contact to book your free discovery call. I want to learn everything about you, your brand, your goals, and how we can make this happen for you. You don't need to keep struggling to figure out what to post. Let's get your content done in one day so you can focus on growing your business. Now let's get back to the show. And while we're on the topic of content, I really wanted to bring this formula that I came across on Instagram the other day that kind of helped me to structure the content topics that I use. So there's a formula that says how to plus the goals that your ICA has minus the challenges that they are facing. So, for example, how to eat healthier when you don't have a lot of time to cook. So whenever you follow a format similar to that, you can create content specifically for your ICA while also addressing their goals and their challenges, while also providing value to help them to get to their goal. Okay, so once you have your goals, your audience, your platforms, and all of the things figured out, now is the time for you to move to step 5, which is to plan your calendar. You need a content calendar or a schedule of when you will create, when you will edit, and when you will post. Now, this is a step where I typically lose all of my people because it's a step that now requires you to put in some work. But I'm going to break this step down for you in 4 easy steps: ideation, creation, edit, schedule, repeat. Well, I guess that's 5 steps. So ideation is the step where you're going to sit down and draft out all of your content ideas to create or recreate by adding your own personal touch to it. Now, lucky for you, I have a free guide that will literally do the work for you. And all you have to do is add your own industry twist to it. And you have 30 days worth of content planned for you within a matter of a couple of minutes. And this guide is called the 30 Done For You Social Media Prompts for Personal Brands. And you can grab it for free at cdcreativecoagency.com/content. I'll also link it below in the show notes. But after you've gathered all of your content concepts, I want you to schedule a day to batch shoot your content. This is a step you could essentially do yourself. However, cut yourself some hassle and hire my creative team to help you execute all of your content concepts, because this is a way that you won't have to ever worry about making sure you're in frame, making sure your tech is functioning properly, or any of the logistical problems that could go wrong. It will be just you, our creative team, and 4 hours of studio time to execute 1 to 2 months worth of content. Now, after you have your content created, now is the time for you to edit your content, which you have 2 ways of tackling your content. Option 1 is saving your money and taking 1 day to edit all of your content on your own. Or option 2 is to hire a video editor on places like Upwork or Fiverr and outsource all of your editing to have it done within 24 to 48 hours. Either way, you want to make sure that all of your content is edited and ready to go, because this is crucial for the next step, which is scheduling. Now, you can use third-party tools to schedule, or you can use Instagram scheduling tool in the app to be able to schedule your posts with the trending audios and all of those things for free. But once you complete all of these steps, essentially, I would recommend you doing this at least once a month to make sure that you are consistent with your content and are able to stay relevant amongst your audience. The key is to stay ahead by planning at least 2 weeks of your content in advance, which brings me to another thing: frequency of posting. While there is no secret number that unlocks success, I am a firm believer to post what you can to be consistent. I would never recommend anyone posting every single day unless you can actually post high quality content every single day. My sweet spot that I tend to shoot for myself is about 3 to 4 times a week. But at the end of the day, do what works for you. Which brings me to my last and final point, and that is to evaluate and adjust. After completing all of the steps, I want you to take inventory on how you feel. What alternatives need to be made to make sure you're creating high quality work and managing your other roles properly? Creating a content strategy isn't a one and done process. It takes time to frame it and alter it and fit your personal and daily schedule. So set aside time each month to not only review your content strategy, but also to review your analytics. what's working and what's not working. I want you to think about the things that are working and the things that are not working, and use this data to continue to refine your content strategy over time. Your audience needs might evolve, you might change your interests, and your strategy should also evolve too. Okay, so now that you have a content strategy that will set you up for success, I want to talk about some tips that can help you stay consistent with posting online. So I know staying consistent can feel impossible, especially if you have a full-time job, you're running a household, and you're managing your side hustle. But consistency is the key to building your brand. So here are some tips to help make staying consistent more manageable. Number one is to set realistic expectations. Like I mentioned before, you do not need to post every single day to be successful. Focus on quality over quantity. I want you to only commit to posting 3 times a week just to start. If you can only commit to posting 3 times a week right now, then do that and stay consistent with it. But consistency matters more than frequency. So start small and then build from there. Number 2 is to use scheduling tools. Like I said before, you can use tools like Later, Planoly, or even Instagram to schedule your content in advance. This way your posts can go out automatically and you don't have to worry about it during your busy days. When you use tools like this, it also helps you to visualize your content strategy and ensure that you're sticking to your plan. Tip number 3 is to repurpose your content. I want you to learn how to work smarter and not harder. You can literally turn one piece of content into multiple pieces of content on multiple platforms. So, for example, if I have a blog post, that blog post can essentially become a carousel post. And then I could take that same content and turn it into a reel or even an email newsletter. A podcast episode can be broken into several shorter clips for Instagram or TikTok. And to take things a little bit further, you can also repurpose B-roll clips and add new overlay text onto the video weeks after you posted it originally. But the key is to always have a library that you can pull from and work smarter and not harder. Tip number 4 is to always have a scheduled content day on your monthly schedule. In order for you to stay consistent, you have to set aside at least one day a month to plan, create, and schedule your content. This is important. We make time for every single thing else that is important to us. You have to make time to do this because this will help you stay ahead and it will help you to reduce the stress of last minute posting. So I want you to always make sure that you have a content day scheduled because essentially this is a self-care day for your business. Okay, and my last and final tip is to give yourself grace. Consistency does not mean perfection. We know that life happens and it's okay to miss a post here and there, but do not make this a habit. I want you to focus on your progress and not perfection. Building a brand is going to take time. This is a marathon, not a sprint. So give yourself grace. Do not focus on the analytics when you first start out. They are going to suck. Focus on providing value to the people that you have been assigned to support and remember your why. Okay, so let's recap. The 6 steps to creating a content strategy are to define your goals, understand your audience, choose your content pillars, pick your platforms, plan your calendar, and evaluate and adjust. If you are juggling a busy schedule, I want you to remember to set realistic expectations and batch shoot your content. Also, use tools to help you stay consistent. If this episode resonated with you, I would love for you to share with a friend or leave a review. And don't forget to grab my free guide, the 30 Days of Done For You Social Media Prompts for Personal Brands at cdcreativecoagency.com/content. And if you want to keep this conversation going on Instagram, you can find me or follow me at Carly Dorlin. Thank you so much for tuning into this podcast episode. And until next time, sis, keep hustling. You got this. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Side Hustler Podcast. I hope you're leaving here today feeling inspired and ready to take your next step. If you love this episode, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another side hustler who needs to hear it. And don't forget to connect with us on Instagram at Carly Dorlin. I'd love to hear about your side hustling journey. Remember, you're doing better than you think, and your dreams are so worth it. Until next time, keep hustling, sis. You got this.